today I'm going to take you through the Mi Band 6 and explain why it wasn't what I was expecting. Welcome back to another episode of STU'S Reviews. So to set the stage for today's episode, I want to go back in time and revisit an episode that I made last year called Why I'm Not Buying the Mi Band 5. But before I do, I want to say a massive thanks to today's sponsor, Wondershare Repair It. This has to be one of the most infuriating, hatred-inducing, hair loss-causing things to ever happen to a content creator like myself, who relies quite often on single takes of footage. But fortunately, there is a solution that you could try. Using Wondershare's Repair It allows you to click and drag video files into its app, which will then attempt to repair it. Once you've done that, you can then preview the video like you're doing right now, then save it both metaphorically and physically. So if you want to give Wondershare Repair It a go, I will leave a link in the description below so you can check it out for yourselves. But now back to the Mi Band 5 episode. If you already had a Mi Band 4, the Mi Band 5 probably wasn't worth getting because all of the incredible features that it added, such as the NFC capabilities for payments and locks and doors and transport, and also the voice assistant that Xiaomi included, they were only capable of working in China. For the worldwide release, those features weren't available, and that is why I concluded there was very little point in upgrading to the Mi Band 5. So, over a year later, has the Mi Band 6 improved on that, and has it given us enough reason to buy it? So, let me show you a closer look of the Mi Band 6. Alright, so I'll forgive you if you think that I'm showing you a shot of the Mi Band 5 right now. And that's because on the surface, the Mi Band 5 and the Mi Band 6 look nearly indistinguishable. However, when the screen comes on, it's a completely different picture. The Mi Band 6 now sports a full device AMOLED display that comes to 326 ppi, and what can I say? I love it. It absolutely benefits this form factor significantly. Along with this, it has all of the upgraded features that I liked on the Mi Band 5. Magnetic charging, SpO2 tracking, sleep tracking, women's health tracking, and generally all the stuff we've come to love about the Mi Band over its past 5 iterations. It can now track more activities too, with more algorithms for specific workouts using its high-precision 6-axis sensor and PPG heart rate sensors. But the real question is, can the Mi Band 6 make up for the sorry excuse of the 5th generation? So let's get the main feature upgrade on the table straight away, and that is the display, and I absolutely love it. I think this type of thing is a big game changer for the Mi Band. Now, for a long time I thought that fitness trackers were becoming a little bit cumbersome when compared to other options like smartwatches. Often smartwatches are a bit flatter, a bit more sophisticated, they look a bit better, whereas the fitness tracker kind of industry has just stayed the same. They've not got thinner, they've just gotten bulkier if anything. And the Mi Band has looked the same for ages, since the Mi Band 2 in fact. Generally speaking, that form factor has not changed. The display has changed a little bit, they've added colour, they've added an AMOLED display, but it's always been that kind of awkward square form factor for a display in a rounded device, and to be honest, it was okay for a while, but in truth I started to get a bit sick of that design. But this has brought a breath of fresh air to that design and given it a new lease of life, and what can I say, I absolutely love it. That AMOLED display just absolutely pops. The contrast is great because it's AMOLED and you can pretty much see it in everything but direct sunlight. That does have a bit of an impact in the viewing experience, but overall it's a fantastic display and I absolutely love this change. I cannot stress enough how much of a difference this makes to the overall quality of life of using a Mi Band. It makes such a big difference, and this is something that I've been wanting for a long time, for them to utilise the space of that Mi Band, the entire thing, and not just a tiny little square in the middle like the previous versions. You can even set your own photos now as the background and choose from a number of different information overlays in the app. This is a nice touch and allows people to essentially create their own watch faces in a really simplistic way, and that is brilliant. In the past, you've been able to do something similar, but not in this level and not with such a large display on a Mi Band as well. So that is a huge upgrade for me and I really like it. But there's always a but with these things. All of this upgrade to the display, so the fact it's larger, it's got great contrast, it's brighter, it's just generally better, and you can have your own things like photos as the background. All of this comes at quite a significant cost to the battery life. Now, the battery life has always been something I've applauded with Xiaomi Mi Bands. In the past, they've lasted nearly up to a month, and that's incredible for something that is this size and does so much, such as heart rate, blood oxygen, tracking, all that sort of stuff. But the battery life now on this, I'm finding I can only get about 5 to 7 days of moderate use out of it. Maybe a little bit longer if I push it a bit harder and turn some of the features off. But that's not the point of these. You're going to want all of the features on. You're going to want constant heart rate. You're going to want to be able to track your sleep. You don't want to turn those features off because this is what you bought it for. And realistically, you're only going to get 5 to 7 days, which is quite a lot less than the previous ones. Even the Mi Band 5 had around a 14-day battery, and I think if I go right the way back, the Mi Band 4, I'm sure I had about 14 days on that too. So this is a bit of a downgrade, but it's that kind of swings and roundabouts really. What is it you want? You've got a much better form factor, in my opinion, on the Mi Band 6, but you are going to sacrifice some of that battery. The thing is, though, 5 to 7 days is actually quite respectable. It's not a bad figure at all. I'm just comparing it to what we've had in the past, but if you compare it on its own, the 5 to 7 day battery life, if you're using it moderately with all of the features turned on, is extremely respectable and actually can compete with quite a lot of other fitness trackers or smartwatches out there and supersede them as well. But it's something to consider when comparing it against previous versions. Now, there is something else actually that they've increased upon from the Mi Band 5, and that is the sports tracking element to it. Now, they haven't actually changed any of the internal capabilities of the Mi Band, but what they have done is they've added more algorithms in the Mi Band 6 to track different types of activities. So the 5, you could only track, I think it was 11 activities. In this new one, the Mi Band 6, you can now track up to 30 different activities. So the athletes among us will be quite happy with that. As with any previous version of Xiaomi's Mi Band, the tracking seems to be pretty accurate, as it always has been, although it still doesn't have GPS. So that means if you are going for longer route rides or runs or hikes, you're going to want to take your phone with you if you want to record the route, because it won't do it on its own. You're going to need your phone to assist it with that GPS. Again, it's not an issue because this is such a small form factor, but it is something to consider again if you want to use this to track routes. Now, this is where we hit a brick wall for improvements, because that's pretty much it. There isn't really anything else that the Mi Band 6 has improved upon. The star feature is that display, but then really we haven't got much else. And the thing that leaves the bitterest taste in my mouth, like a sour apple, is the fact that the international version still doesn't have NFC or the voice assistant. Why? Why? Why do they keep focusing just on giving these features to the Chinese market? I mean, I get they're a Chinese company, but Xiaomi is not unheard of in this part of the world. In the West, Canalys did a survey recently. Xiaomi has the second highest market share of smartphone devices in Europe. In Europe! So it's not like they're unheard of. I just can't work out why they are not putting more effort into bringing features like the NFC, like the voice assistant, into international releases of the Mi Band 6, or the Mi Bands in general. Because these are the features that people have been asking for, especially in the Western society, for so long. So I just don't get it. I fully expected them this time round to include some form of rudimentary NFC access, even if it wasn't to put things like your payment cards on, if there's some kind of regulatory thing that's stopping them there. It would have been nice to at least have access to the NFC, to use it as like a business card or something that I can program to unlock smart locks in the house. I don't know. But even that I can't do. There's no access to it at all for me to program it in my own way. As for the voice assistant, there's lots of things out there with examples of how to use voice assistants in fitness trackers. Look at Amazfit, for example. They've brought Amazon Alexa to the Amazfit Band 5. So it can be done. Why haven't they partnered with someone like Amazon to get that baked in to this? Now, it may be, again, because of regulatory issues, or it could be something to do with the fact that maybe Xiaomi are looking at finally bringing their voice assistant to the Mi Band in the West. I don't know for definite, but that would be really the only reason why they're delaying putting something like the Echo voice assistant directly into this and letting other companies like Xiaomi and Amazfit put it in their devices. It just irritates me. And the big question is, will we ever see NFC or a voice assistant in international release of the Mi Band 6? I would be prepared to bet a glass of fine single malt Islay whiskey that we do not see it in the Mi Band 6. Mi Band 7? Maybe. But I said this last year when we sat down and spoke about the Mi Band 5. I said, we'll hopefully see it next year, but we haven't done. So let me sit down again. We'll hopefully see it next year. So, I said that I wouldn't buy the Mi Band 5 because of the small iterative changes that they made on top of the Mi Band 4. But the real question is, should you buy the Mi Band 6? Well, the changes to the display are extremely welcome, and like I said at the beginning, I cannot stress how important that has been to giving a breath of fresh air to the Mi Band range. But in my eyes, it's overshadowed by the omission of the features that they keep on putting in for Chinese customers over in China and not putting in for those in the EU or the West. And it's a massive shame because it just means that it falls short of any expectation that I had for this device. And it falls short of what I believe the Mi Band 6 could be capable of doing over here. Imagine this had form of payment in it, or it had some kind of voice assistant. People would be snapping this off the shelves because the price is super cheap. At the moment over on Banggood, you're looking at about £40. Would I pay a bit more if there was a Mi Band 6 Pro in the UK that had NFC and a voice assistant? Of course I would. I would happily pay 60 quid for that option. I'd pay an extra £20 for that, and I wouldn't blink, because this, in its own right, is a fantastic device. The Mi Band always has been. It's got really good, accurate tracking. The design is pretty simple, and I like it. The app is also extremely simplistic and easy to use. And now with the fact that it's got that full screen display, it just looks like a beautiful, forward-thinking fitness tracker from Xiaomi. So in its own right, it's brilliant. But when we look at what it could be capable of, when comparing it to the actual Mi Band 6 that's been released over in China with NFC, with the voice assistant, like I said, it just falls short in the UK of what I think this thing could be. But that doesn't mean that I don't think you should buy it. Because if you don't have a Mi Band, the Mi Band is fantastic. And the 6 is really the pinnacle of the technology. And I would say that if you are new to it, at about £40, the Mi Band 6 is an utter bargain. It's a fantastic device, and I absolutely love it. However, if you have a Mi Band 5, even maybe a Mi Band 4, should you rush to buy this? Nah, I wouldn't say so. I think your Mi Band 5 has probably got a bit more life in it just yet. But that concludes my opinion or look at the Mi Band 6, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. And if I've helped you at all, I'd really appreciate returning the favour and hitting that thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe and that notification bell. And I'll see you back for another episode of STU'S Reviews soon.